As we do most podcasts, I can't say each and every podcast, but most podcasts, Adam, take us home here with a couple of state updates.
Yeah, I'm going to sound all the doom and gloom here at the end of episode number 233. Wither the South. Maybe it shall rise again, but it shall not rise again this year. Mississippi, which looked like it had taken the steps in the direction we thought was going to lead to expanding the market to online, finally died. Another situation similar to Alabama. One chamber passed it. Other chamber did not. Goes to conference. Does not get out of conference. What happened in Mississippi is that every year since 2018, when it was one of the first states to go live with in-person legal sports betting, there has been some bill introduced to try to expand the market to online. But what happened last fall was that we saw legislators do a task force, essentially a study, to go and look at how would this benefit casinos in the state. So that seemed to be the step in the right direction of, okay, we've done the study, we've gotten the information, now we know what the bill should look like. However, what we ultimately see here in Mississippi is that the local casinos, obviously not talking about the ones who have ties to major operators like MGM, but the local casinos have a lot of sway with state legislators, and they expressed concerns about how that would affect them if sports betting were expanded to online and benefited the major operators more than them. And that ultimately was part of why Mississippi is done for this year. Now, over in Alabama, we already thought it was done, and then all of a sudden a conference committee involving the sports betting bill popped up. Our Pat Evans, who watches a lot of legislative sessions, like just, if you ever see Pat out at a conference, just give him a little pat on the back, buy him a drink, tell him you know how hard he's working watching all of these sessions. Within the first 5 minutes of this conference committee hearing yesterday, the chair of the committee said, just want everyone to know, we are not talking about the sports betting bill. This is not going to be part of this. It is not passing. So Alabama looks like it is going to be without sports betting again this year. We saw that was a comprehensive gambling package. A lot of it got stripped. Looks like that what they're ultimately going to do is try to advance a state lottery. It was one of only a half dozen states that does not have a state lottery as of right now. There was a bill introduced in Missouri. Our intel says don't pay attention to that. You're only paying attention, if you care about this, to what's going on in the situation with the ballot measure that's being pitched. Also a report out there about North Carolina having a bill to ban prop betting about to be introduced. Only interesting, I think, beyond the obvious, because that market just launched. That law is brand new, and we could be potentially looking at some restriction there. That's coming from a representative who was against the expansion of sports betting in the first place. So not a great map in terms of more sports betting states coming online this year, but that was, of course, expected at the beginning of the year. It has become a much more difficult task in the remaining states that are left. Frankly, they were the ones that weren't low-hanging fruit in the first place. Keep tuned in to our podcast, thelegalsportsreport.com, for all the latest as to what is going on in all of those states.
Yeah, Adam, it is the biggest stretch of land across the United States now at this point that doesn't have some form of online legalized sports betting. You go all the way from Mississippi all the way to the coast in South Carolina, where you're passing through Alabama and Georgia as well. You take a look at a U.S. map, and we love maps here on this podcast, as you guys that have listened for 233 episodes well know. You will not find a stretch of America that far where you do not have some form of legalized online sports betting, except for that chunk of land right there in the South. And, obviously up until recently, Florida was a part of that too. And you just had that whole area that was down there with that. So it's just super interesting that we can't get anything done in any of these states as to where, like, again, you cannot go that far between borders to find a chunk of states that don't have legalized sports betting past that.
Question for geography, Matt, though.
Yes.
And this is going to require a little bit of creativity of thinking. What if we turned California 90 degrees? Would we then have a similar stretch of land where you have no legal sports betting, right? Like, geography, Matt, is also becoming geometry, Matt.
But here's the thing, though. Then we would have to, but then it would what? Then it would like bisect Nevada and Arizona, which both have it. So then, like, you would be able to like ping pong,
Oh, it's like a
sides.
bridge.
See what I'm saying?
You could take the lower level under the area that doesn't have it.
Yeah, so like if you rotated it, you would still have
Right.
Nevada on one side and Arizona
Okay.
on the other. So like, no, that's it. That's the hunk of land. Sorry, that's the way we're going with that. We're just
Okay,
going.
done.
Yeah, we're
Done.
just going with that. With that, get it done, guys. Come on, man. What's going on? Why are you leaving this on the table? If we think that the money, this is how we end it here, Adam. If we think that the money is really big running through California, actually, we know that it is. We're starting to see the numbers attached. What do you think is happening in Alabama and Georgia and South Carolina? Do you think that there are no bookies there? Do you think that everybody is just going about this and just going, well, we can't bet, so I ain't betting? No, it's happening there too. There's a lot of bookies probably in Atlanta right now who are praying that none of this stuff passes. I mean, like there's bookies everywhere that doesn't have legalized stuff. So come on,
So
it's happening there too.
So wait, Matthew, you an SEC graduate, you're telling me that there is gambling on college football in the South? I am shocked.
I can't. I hate to break it to you. I'm peeling the curtain back a little bit there for you, Adam. But yes, it is, in fact, a thing. Guys, as we talked about everything here, except for one story that we are going to give our props to over on ESPN, but you can find over on LegalSportsReport.com. So head on over there. Be sure that you're taking in all the great words that Adam and team are putting on the site. And if you haven't done so quite yet, go in. If you're watching us on video, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us on the audio side, and for whatever reason you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. It's boom, done. There it is. Look at that. It took you 1 second to do it. 1 second to go in. Follow Adam on the Twitter machine at Adam Candee, 2 E's, no Y, or follow me if you hate yourself at Matt Brown M2. For Adam, I am Matt. Talk to you in 2 weeks.